I'm Mike.
And I'm Kendra, and this is Blissfully Blended Chaos.
Our faith, our family, our chaos, all for the glory of God. Welcome, everybody, to our initial first ever episode of Blissfully Blended Chaos,
Yes.
a new venture that we're embarking on. Basically, having a conversation style podcast about our life as a blended couple with blended family chaos. Um,
Lots of chaos.
we are going to be discussing different topics, um, things that we have been through to an extent, things we deal with on a daily basis, being a blended family that a lot of other couples wouldn't be dealing with, but there's plenty of blended families out there that are probably struggling or looking for help that um, can't find in certain places because not everybody's blended. I feel like um, we've been kind of called to maybe be the light in the darkness a little bit.
Yeah, because a lot of the things that we've walked through in our relationship and our family, there wasn't always a outlet or a resource for people with families like ours.
No. But before we get into everything, little background for us. We're Mike and Kendra again, and we've been married for 9 years. Been together for 10 years. No, no, been to
We've
get
been
married
married
for eight
for 8,
years.
together for
Together for
9.
9 years. Oh, math.
Our math ain't mathin'.
No, all the years blend together when you're ever so happy. She
Mm.
chuckles because it hasn't always been happy.
But yeah, so we've been together for 9, married for 8. I came from a previous marriage and relationship with 3 children.
I came from a previously off and on relationship that we had a child out of wedlock. Um,
And then we have our one sweet little bundle of chaos.
yes, he is the rule of the roost. Um,
Yeah,
it's always the youngest and the that is the strongest and is the leader of the pack, and
that is definitely our little boy
he is definitely a terror. Um, but
in a good way.
yes, in a definitely in a good way. Uh,
And then
we
we have a fur puppy,
oh
my
yes,
fur child.
a dog. I don't
You love him. Anyway,
anyway. Um,
yeah,
yeah. So a little bit of our backstory hasn't always been pleasant, as we said. We've struggled a lot with, um, I guess, forms of infidelity, adultery, um,
trust, communication.
trust, communication, um, just overall parenting differences between the two families,
Definitely.
um,
Co-parenting
co-parenting with our exes, and
each other.
each other. Really, I think that was been our biggest, one of our biggest spats is the way we parent and the
Yes.
differences. Um, but the closer we get to God, the more we start to understand that we are here for each other and we are here to work together. And uh,
The closer we get to Christ and the closer we parent the way he called us to, the better our relationship gets.
yep. So on this episode, very first episode, we're going to be talking about a little bit about communication and how big a role communication is in a relationship. And that's any relationship, not just blended families, but it is especially strifeful in a blended family,
Yeah.
especially when you're dealing with um, co parenting with exes and ex husbands and ex spouses or whatever, what have you,
Children,
children's
stepchildren,
stepchildren,
whatever.
everything.
We don't use that term very often.
No,
We have our children.
we don't have stepchildren. We have children.
Yes.
Um, but communication has always been one of our biggest um, strifes. There's always been a wall, I guess, on my end. Um, not really open to sharing feelings and everything like that. And I think on several occasions, it's actually almost caused us to split. Um,
But I was not always, I guess, receptive to you taking your wall down. I kind of was like the guard outside of it, preventing for anything from like,
yeah, I think if there was ever any kind of conflict or anything that really needed to be discussed over the last 7, 8 years,
nine.
well, I was talking
I
about
know.
prior to now, but over the last few years, it's been, I'm more of a, yeah, I'll let you talk about it. I'm going to listen, but I'm not going to say anything and I'm just going to ignore it and act like it goes away.
Sweep it under the rug until it explodes,
Yeah. And
which
it
has
would,
happened.
yeah. One of our most recent disagreements, we'll call it, was over some communication and a lot of old baggage came out. And we were not necessarily talking about the D word, but
We were talking about the D
we were
word.
definitely talking about the D word
Yes.
and came very close to
I think
ending.
I think it was the closest we've ever come.
Was
No.
I think after that first year when we first went and through and be engaged, was it
No, I'm
closer
just
than that?
saying nobody's ever left.
Oh yes,
We've
I
never we've never separated houses.
we definitely stayed in different places that night, and
Just one night.
just one night, I came home the next night. Um, after going to work, came home that night and basically opened up.
No, we didn't the first night. We agreed not to because the
Oh
children were
yeah,
home.
yeah.
Um, it happened on a Monday. We
Was it? Yeah,
It
it
was
was
a
Monday.
Monday, and then on that Tuesday, you went to work from the hotel, and then we agreed not to talk about it Tuesday night. And Wednesday, we took the kids to their church services. And while they were in service, we had some healthy conversation.
Yeah, and
What is it
basically,
that Monty and Chelsea call it? Heated fellowship?
heated fellowship. Yes, some leaders of ours from
Our church.
our church, um, real good friends of ours. They uh, would call disagreements
Heated
heated
fellowship.
fellowship, and it's much needed in a relationship. And there is a difference between um, arguing and putting each other down and a heated fellowship. You know, we're a married couple. We're allowed to have disagreements. We're allowed to not see eye to eye on certain things, but at the end of the day, um,
Come together and
we
compromise.
need to come together and try and figure out a compromise. There's always some sort of compromise. We may not like it in the moment, but it's definitely what's needed in the end of the day.
Yes.
So with our little spat, we basically went our separate ways for a little bit,
24-hour break.
24-hour break.
Not a friends kind of break.
Yeah,
It
were
was
they on a
a
break? Were they not on a
it
break?
was a alone time to think about.
Alone time to think about, contemplate, pray, um, and basically,
I don't know that pray was even a plan though.
No, it wasn't, but it,
'Cause
it
we
definitely came
were
into a factor a little bit
we
because
weren't super close with God in that moment.
no, but I think um, he was definitely working behind the scenes because
We didn't plan
we
for
didn't,
him to be.
yeah, we didn't plan for him to be there, but he was definitely pulling at my heartstrings and your heartstrings. So
Definitely.
um, we ended up actually coming up with a script of questions and discussion topics that we needed to address. Because part of the disagreement was trust, communication, and or
And openness. Like,
openness. Yes.
yes, communication, but being being vulnerable, being able to be transparent. That was a big thing. But, I think maybe go back a little bit. So, kind of explain from your perspective, not in details, because I think certain details of our personal life are our personal life, but and not to get too in depth, but maybe
Um,
explain part of your night and your experience the next day that got us to the
the next
point
day
where
or the
we
day of.
just kind of the preview of what got us to Wednesday. From the time we got in the fight until Wednesday when we actually sat down and talked.
Okay,
What
so
'Cause I think Monday evening, um, we had had a disconnect from church, not from anything the church did, but we hadn't been as active as we had been in previous years. We had kind of gotten lazy with praying at home and a lot of the things that
we were kind of going through the
grounded us.
motions.
We got into a
We got into a busy season and kind of let it overtake us.
yes, and we let
Um,
the world in.
we definitely let the world in. We were marriage leaders at our church, and we're heavy into the marriage ministry. Um, but we peeled back because we were in a busy season, but also we peeled back even more because we felt like we were under attack and we weren't good enough. And
Qualified.
qualified's a better word. And more or less, we felt like we needed to work on us before we could help anybody work on themselves. So we took a step back, um, and it had been several weeks or months
It had been several months,
that
um,
we were kind of just going through the motions. Um,
since school got out.
go to church every Sunday, going through the motions, just kind of not really connecting, but connecting just on
Basic
a
level.
basic level. Um, and it was kind of coming between us a little bit. I mean, we still had our moments where we were
Each other.
each other, but
You'll get to know our
definitely,
quirky little
yeah,
selves.
definitely not. Matter of fact, I'm gonna hide this pen from you. Definitely not as close as we could have been or should have been. And it was starting to get it noticed by family, friends, and everybody around us. And but moving forward into the evening at hand, um, I had went golfing with my dad, and I think one of our sons, Caden, Caden went with me, and had a regular outing golfing. Had fun. Met up with Kendra and my mom with my dad, and them went for dinner. Um, and then came straight home. Didn't really stay out and linger or nothing like that. Went home. I came in like it was a regular afternoon.
It was a really good like, we felt like we were doing good, though.
Yeah, I didn't feel like we were doing anything wrong. Like nothing was wrong in our lives or anything like that.
We didn't
And
fight.
We weren't fighting, and it just um I came into the media room, sat down, started to watch TV, and then bam, blindsided. Not really
He
blindsided,
was
but
asked to communicate.
I was asked to
Bum, bum,
open up
bum.
about certain messages that were nothing of any I don't know how you would even word that, and nothing of significance.
They were not appropriate, but they weren't unfaithful or anything. It wasn't.
It was a comment that was made on my end that um at the time I saw it as innocent and didn't think anything of it, but after I'd already sent it out and went back and looked at it and read it, I could seen how it could be taken as something
God got a hold of him.
different. Yeah, definitely a spiritual spanking in the moment. But basically I saw that it could have been misconstrued as something else
From either
from
party,
yeah, from either party
from
and
me or the
the
person it
individual.
was sent to.
And I basically um took it and deleted it.
Not
Um
very well.
no, not very well at all. Basically I hid it from my wife and didn't, you know, open up about it and tell her about it. So she had found it.
So I'm going to go into that. And for some reason, his phone was the morning of golf, um, Monday morning, his phone was sitting on the bathroom cabinet and he had walked outside for something and something told me just to look. And that wasn't like a common thing. I don't go through his phone often, but we have had past things happen that occasionally, if Satan comes in and is like, oh, he's doing this, then I will look and just kind of clear my mind. It's kind of a conversation that we have had because for me to ask him generally doesn't ever end well. It comes out accusing. So it was a transparency. We have each other's passwords. And if you ever have a doubt, just look. It's not that big of a deal. Well, the only thing I looked at was deleted messages in the text. That's all I looked at. I just opened deleted messages and there it was. But I did not read what it said. I just saw who it was to. And I put his phone down and decided I was not going to ruin a father son, literally father, son, and grandfather golf trip. And I was going to let him have his day. I wasn't going to have the conversation in that moment because there are appropriate times and there was no need to ruin an outing.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Is that sarcasm or
No, that was
like
being legit.
if I would have said it prior and we would have started that then, it would have
It would
A, brought his parents
have
into it. B, it would have brought our child into it and affected our kids. And then see, it would have just ruined a day that didn't need to be ruined.
no. Um and so like I said, I got home. Um she came in, sat down, closed the door behind her, and said we needed to have a conversation. And in recent times, whenever she says that, I know that I'm in trouble. So I immediately started putting the walls up and putting my guard up. Um, and she asked about it, and I basically told her I was like, "Well, I deleted the message, so I don't, I don't, basically was unwilling to tell her
What was
what
said?
was said, which did not look good at all.
No, and
It made it seem like I was definitely trying to hide inappropriate acts or inappropriate conversation. And
I felt like I asked pretty unaccusingly because the
she
way
asked,
I asked was just, "Hey, I'm not accusing. Satan's attacking me, and I'm feeling very insecure right now. So, was something said, or what was said? Because I saw this."
and I basically reacted terribly. Um, and words were said,
Fair enough.
and a bag was packed, and I went and stayed in a hotel.
Which has never happened.
Never. I've
We have
never.
had some knockdown, drag out fights and never left
No, you've came very close to leaving. I think you even packed a bag once,
twice.
twice,
But yeah,
but you've never left.
no. But we've never done that, and that was a hard moment because
It was very hard, even for me. Um, taking off and driving away. Um, in the back of my mind, I'm the one leaving, but I felt like even if I were to come back, um, would she still be there? Um, even though everything was on me, it was all my reaction to the whole ordeal. Um, that was always playing in the back of my mind of, okay, well, what if I just come back and I open up? Is she still going to be there when I get there, or is she going to be gone, or whatever?
yeah,
And so I went, stayed at a hotel, went to work the next day, told her I was coming home, but I didn't want to talk about it. Basically, said we needed to keep our distance um, for the time being.
which I agreed to because our issues are our issues, and I firmly believe that adult problems are adult problems, not children problems. And if you are going to have heated fellowship, it does not need to happen in front of children.
No, definitely not. So we put off a conversation. Um, Tuesday, basically came home. We definitely, apologized for the actions and words that we were saying to each other the night before I left. Um, and I don't remember if we
So
slept in the same room
we
that night
did
or not.
not. I did not. I slept right across from us right now. But the Tuesday while he was at work, well, first off, when he left,
So here's
God got me.
yeah, here's God
Here's where
playing.
God intervened. Um, in past years, like multiple years ago, when I had a problem, I would call a friend, call my mom, call somebody and just bash him and be like, "What a jerk. I cannot believe he did this." And I didn't. I actually called our pastor's wife and I messaged her and I asked if she was busy. And well, I called two people. I called my pastor's wife and I called a friend that helped me through a deliverance class. And the friend that I went through the deliverance class with didn't answer. She did call me the next day, but this was at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. But the pastor's wife, Stephanie, she did call me, and I kinda told her what was going on and what had happened and that he had left, and she prayed with me. She told me to give him his space and told me to not push and told me to give it to God because he is not mine to fix. There is nothing wrong with him. He is perfect in God's eyes, but I needed to let God deal with him, and that is what I did, and he was probably pretty shocked when I did not message him repetitively and blow his phone up and try to call and be obnoxious. I gave him his space, and I prayed for him, which was not an easy thing to do, and
Mm.
then the next morning
Um, so on my intervention, um, I work in construction, which many of you probably know that construction is not the nicest or easiest to be in as a Christian man. Um, There's a lot of individuals in construction world that have foul mouth and live of the world and not of God. But my saving grace was my new safety coordinator or manager on site that I work at right now. Um, Actually, recently divorced, unfortunately, but um,
It's a sweetheart.
it's my man crush, my work wife. But he basically told me about the importance of communication and opening up and basically sharing your emotions and how things make you feel. Because he said that that was part of what kind of came between him and his um, ex-wife. Um, Basically, they miscommunicated a lot of things and didn't. He didn't open up and share his feelings or understand um, the emotional connection that his wife needed. And basically told me that I kind of explained it to him, vented a little bit of, the situation without giving a whole lot of details, but just basically the general gist of everything.
In true man fashion.
Yeah. And he basically told me that I was an idiot, um, more or less, and
Yeah.
basically told me that I needed to open up and we actually needed to communicate about things. And, as much as I didn't want to hear that from a guy,
You heard it.
I heard it loud and clear. And basically, it was something that has kind of been getting chiseled away from me for a while. There were several times that she would ask me questions about things in the past, and I would, always have the wall up or anything like that. But I deep down, I was like, oh, I want to tell you this, but I can't tell you that. I want to tell you this, but I want to tell you that.
But I have not always made it easy to tell me anything. My reactions and my responsive has not always been
Graceful.
super graceful. Yes.
Yeah, it's always been very harsh or very negative.
Mommying,
Yeah. But
correcting, trying to parent him.
trying to fix me when, like she said, I'm not hers to fix. But um, he basically told me that communication is what women yearn for in a man, and an emotional connection on a deeper level than just the intimate bedroom stuff and the pillow talk and all that kind of stuff. It's basically throughout the day or throughout a conversation, just basically opening up and telling her how you feel about certain things or how something she did yesterday made you feel, or something she's doing in the moment, how it makes you feel, or something like that. So, um, Tuesday, I came home. We, you know, had a small discussion,
Very small.
then went our separate ways for the evening. Obviously still loved on each other and everything because at the end of the day, she's still my wife. I'm still her husband. We still love each other. We might not like each other in the moment, but at the end of the day, I still love her. And I would
I
hope,
still love
okay,
him.
I was about to say, I would hope she still loves me, but, um, went our separate ways that Tuesday. I
And
got
while
up.
he was talking to Monty,
Yeah,
he may or may not have checked my location.
I did. So I was back to work on Tuesday.
And I was not responding.
I had texted her about something, but she wasn't responding. So
He panicked and thought I
I,
left.
I thought she left. I was really, really dreading that I was going to come home Tuesday and everything was going to be gone. But
It's a big house. Couldn't
yeah,
pack it in a day.
I checked her location because on iPhone you can do that.
After you checked the camera in the garage.
After I checked the camera in the garage, yes, I seen her try to go mow and then rush back in and then leave. So kind of, A, I'm thinking, oh, maybe one of the kids had an accident or something, or B, um, she's leaving. So I checked her location, and lo and behold, she's at the church, um,
Yeah.
which I figured that would be one of the places she would go, but I figured she would be up there trying to talk to somebody or trying to basically fix me or rat me out to somebody and
But
have
that
somebody.
wasn't the case. I had called the pastor's wife and asked her if the sanctuary was empty, and I went to the altar and I gave them to God. I sat there from about 9 to 10:30 on my knees at the altar, giving it all over to God. And it was rough. I ugly cried.
Yeah.
Like that ugly cry where your ears pop and you can't breathe. Yeah, I did that. It was not pretty. I'm glad the cameras weren't rolling in there.
um. Yeah. So after everything of that, come home Tuesday night, basically go our separate ways. After the initial loving of each other, and then hey, we'll talk
Tomorrow.
tomorrow. Let's set a date. We're gonna set aside time. After
Alone.
we drop off the kids at church,
Cleared it with the church because
we're gonna we're gonna set aside some time for us, and go on a date night of sorts. But really, it was a come to Jesus moment. Um,
and it was. And I
we
came with my notes and my bullet points.
so we were talking throughout the day. Wednesday, while I was at work, she was home doing her stuff. And obviously, I'm still talking to Monty about it and everything. I'm like, okay, we're setting aside some time today to kind of talk about it, and he's telling me that like he's really pounding it in. Like, you need to open up. You need to tell her how you feel. You need to tell her this, tell her that. Basically, like you know, real in touch with his feminine side. Kind of worries me a little bit.
That is so
Just kidding.
mean.
I'm just kidding, Monty. Um, but yeah, it was basically just hounding me a little bit about it, and we're talking throughout the day. It's a normal conversation, normal day to an extent, and basically just discussing where we want to go, what do we want to do, and how we were going to do this and everything like that.
Make sure we had clear set things to talk about so we didn't end up on a tangent and we had direction rather than just aimless conversation.
Yeah, and Chat GPT is a awesome thing. Because
It made me some fancy bullet points.
yeah, Kendra, while sitting in downtime, just roughly threw something in Chat GPT really quick. Basically, bullet points and discussion points for communication and trust.
When trust has been broken
When trust
and
has been broken, how to re put it together and regain it and come together and basically have a conversation. And sent it to me, and she texted it to me. I looked it over, and I was amazed at the structure
the
and
accuracy.
the accuracy of this AI. Really scary how much
Really,
AI is
because
paying attention to
it
all of us.
like it knew like because I was like, okay, knowing what you know about me and Mike and our relationship and all the problems that we've had, um, help me write bullet points on how to talk about trust and communication. And it was like creepy
It
accurate.
was spot on, like so spot on.
It kind of hurt a little bit,
Yeah, a lot of it, but um,
but it was so good.
we so we go and drop off the kids. I met her at the church, and I was picking her up. We were going to go in my truck to go wherever we were going,
Crap food.
um, to grab food. We decided to go to Whataburger.
They messed up my order.
Yeah.
Boo.
But we went to Whataburger. And as soon as she got in the truck, she brought out the notes and everything, and we started right then and there discussing everything.
Well, we prayed first.
Well, yeah, we prayed first. Basically, ask God to give us clarity of mind,
Wisdom,
um,
patience,
wisdom, patience, and basically
compassion.
and restraint and restraint, not to slow to anger,
Not to need bail money.
not yeah. um, but I don't. I wish we had the bullet points right here in
I
front.
do. Do
Oh,
you want me to grab them?
well, I was gonna say, just
I was
the
just
first
looking for
question.
that.
I mean, because the first question
Where?
really set the tone for the whole conversation. Um,
Let's see. Use I'm waiting on it to load. Actually, I have it in our
Notes.
notes. I shared the note with you. That's right.
I would grab it. My phone's down there. So
Discussion points. Okay. So the first set of it was acknowledge the past. What hurts or
which I don't.
disappointments from
I
the
don't like doing.
past still affect our relationship today? How can we create a safe space for each other to share without judgment or interruption? What do I need to hear from you in order to feel understood and valued? And are there any patterns we need to recognize that continue to cause pain
So that was a okay. Remove your phone from the deal.
from the
So
platform?
that was a that was a real eye opener on both our parts because we well, first of all, she made me go first, of course. Um,
Yes. Lead baby.
so she asked me the question, and without even hesitation or thinking about it, I just bleh, and opened up, and basically told her how I felt about different things, some big things that have bothered me for
Since day one.
since day one, um, and I've just kind of lived with and you know let it exist and consume me. Um, but the moment that I got it off my chest and said it, it was like a weight had been lifted from me. Um, because at that point I was basically, yes, I was having a conversation with her, and bringing it to light to her, but at the same time, I was also giving it to God to basically like, hey, I don't want to carry this anymore. Help me out
Yes.
here, brother.
Yes.
You take it. And one of the things we talked about before the discussions points were, let's make sure that we're listening, understand what we're saying to each other, and we don't react, negatively. Um, so whenever I came out with it and I was, in a safe space, it was
You said it, and I was like, so what you're saying is, and I repeated it back like a psychopath, but
it was definitely received well, a lot better than I thought it would be. Um, and then basically communicated, you know, real clear and basically understood and everything. Um,
and I was able to do the same. I was able to say the things that had bothered me for years that I had struggled with and the questions that I had been asking that had been getting brushed under the rug and pretended like they didn't. I had received the answers I needed. I had been able to say the things that I want to say and felt heard. Like I usually it's in one ear and out the other, but I felt like it was acknowledged and I felt like amends were made. Like
Very much so.
apologies happened that had never happened. Like apologies for like 5 years ago that just had never been
Well,
said.
I mean, I think even for like the very beginning when we first got together, there was some confirmations and apologies and everything from even back then.
Dating
Um,
years, like we had stuff from dating baggage that we had never let
addressed
go of.
fully.
Like we were carrying it. And it's like we were walking through life in our relationship and instead of hashing something out, we were just like picking up a rock to represent it and sticking it in a backpack and just traipsing through carrying it, and it got heavy,
Yeah, it really got heavy,
and
but
it started weighing us down and tearing us apart.
definitely. We went through the whole discussion while we're eating, the drive over there, the drive back to the kids.
Sat in the parking lot,
Sat in the
finished the
parking lot, finished the
conversation.
conversation, waited for them to get out of their classes and everything. Um, and basically, we ended on a great note. Um, we were able to communicate. I was able to open up and be emotionally connected. Um,
Which in turn made me open up and be physically connected.
yes,
Kudos.
yes, very much so. Um, but it was like I
Not
don't
in the
know. It
parking
was
lot, to
it was
clarify.
no, that was when we got home. But we were able to connect on a different level, a whole new level than ever before because I was able to open up emotionally, and basically let my guard down and let my wall down, which then in turn let her wall and guard down for um, physical attention. Um, but
And it changed
it
everything.
it it was a whole. It was like
The level of intimacy, the level of trust, the level of just everything.
yeah, it was like we were getting a breath of fresh air, you know, into our relationship, into our lives. Um,
God did CPR.
it was basically a renewal, um, like I guess you can kind of say like a transfusion,
Yeah.
more or less,
You're right.
a rebirth.
Yeah.
And it has been, I don't know, it's been a lot better tenfold,
Yeah.
um, ever since this. Looking back now, we kind of joke about it, like
That was stupid.
it was definitely stupid. It was definitely innocent. Um, I thought so on my part, and then it could be misconstrued as something else. Um,
Yes, but you
but
also have to
the fact that I took it and hit it and didn't come
made it look awful.
made it look horrible. Um,
But it's just the way life gets now because everything's so normalized where you can say something that sounds normal or secular, but it basically was just you said something super worldly and transferred
yeah,
into godly. It didn't transfer and it could be perceived very
yeah,
inappropriately.
very much so.
Um, it could have been to me and the other person, it could have opened a door
That didn't need to be
that
open,
didn't need to be opened.
and I that was not my intent at all. Because this is the only door that I need right here. Um,
Well,
well,
this guy,
yeah,
I am
that
the
door
door.
too. He's the door. Um, but yeah, so I didn't want it to be taken any other way. And basically, came flat out, told her what I said. Because mind you, I did delete the messages, so she didn't read them. She didn't see what I said.
So I assumed the worst.
So she assumed the worst. Um, but whenever I came out and came clean, basically told her what was said,
I told him he was
I
stupid.
was so embarrassed. I think that was,
Shame.
pride and shame was the big factor into that. Basically, just, I didn't want her to look at me any differently than she already did. And, basically felt very vulnerable in that instant. And felt like I was going to get judged. It was what? But ever since then, now we kind of joke about it like, hey, we kind of needed that. Like,
It's actually the best fight we've ever had.
it was the worst fight and the best fight at the
But it
same
was the
time.
best because it transformed our marriage.
It definitely did.
Like, we've went through marriage counseling, we've went through, like, marriage ministry, we've helped people with their marriage, and we've never communication's always been the one thing that we struggled with because
Mhm.
I know what to do, and I can tell you what to do, and I can tell you that it'll work, but I can't apply it for myself,
No, and
and
that
that's
that was
part of
our
why we stepped
biggest.
away, because we knew that we had all the head knowledge, but we hadn't moved it to our heart. We hadn't instilled it. We hadn't like walked the
we
walk
we
truly.
were still living in the world to an extent. Um, we were trying to live in both, more or
Yes.
less. Um, and that's not how you need to live.
It was very carnal.
It was very
And
carnal. We It was a hassle. It was always a hassle.
and it was like eggshells. Like I felt like just being home and having everybody here, it was like walking on eggshells. It was
there were definitely times that we had
worried
to
about,
put a facade on for the
yeah,
kids, for whoever was at the house, or
not saying something out of fear of the way he would react. And I'm sure he felt the same way because
yeah,
sometimes my
definitely,
reactions aren't very gracious. But I think we actually, in this fight, realized that it was not a battle against me and him. It was a battle about from being attacked, and we had left doors open that needed to be shut.
definitely.
And when we shut those and actually communicated about them and talked about them
It actually brought us
and
a lot
healed,
closer and healed. We were able to heal together instead of trying to heal alone like we had in the past.
it was
Um,
his problems were his problems and my problems were my problems, and we just kind of figured out how to cope with it. We had some band-aids and we were springing leaks.
yeah, and in this instance, it was one of those deals of, all right, we're gonna rip all these band-aids off, and we're gonna go back through them and treat them individually, and get us back to one, basically, because we were one, and then we were two, one and two, one and two, kind of going back and forth. But we hadn't came back to just being one and living the way God intended us to be as a couple. Um,
Outside of our relationship, has how has this changed us having our communication and us being able to address the issues we have? How has that helped you outside of our marriage? Has it helped you in just everyday life?
it's definitely opened my eyes to different aspects of my work life, or just um, general life with others. Basically, just opened my eyes of how shut off I could be. Um, it wasn't just in my relationship that I was being shut off and guarded. It was definitely something that a trait, I guess you can say, that I carried into work. Um, and with others, I would just kind of be standoffish, or not really.
There was no transparency.
No, no, definitely not. But now, like I said, I just on a whim, I've vented to Monty at work, and
Which he does not talk about our
I
problems
don't
with
talk about our
anybody.
problems with anybody. I just basically, like, hey, it's my problem. I'm fighting with my wife, whatever, blah blah blah. But I basically opened up to him on a whim. Don't really know why. I barely, I he's just been on this job site for the last 3 or 4 months, maybe. So I mean, we haven't really gone into much detail of personal life or anything like that. But I don't know, something was telling me that, um, hey, I can trust this guy.
God used him.
Yeah, definitely. Didn't really expect him to, but he definitely did. Basically poured my life story, not really my life story, but poured out a portion of the story, and he basically, was there for me, um, and really, really helped me out. Basically, telling me that I needed to be comfortable with my emotions, and hey, it's okay.
And I went to Stephanie, but I also went to God. And when I was at the altar on Tuesday, I was giving God the what for, and I was telling him what he needed to do to fix this guy. And somehow I came home with a list of all the things I needed to fix with me.
That's funny how that works
But it
because
was because I seriously, God was like, I was writing things that I needed to change about you. And somehow the list ended up just being like, soften my heart, help me to see him through your eyes and love him the way you love him. And just all things about me. It was kind of annoying,
yeah,
but
and
it was needed.
which that that takes me to um one of the classes that we've went through several times that we went through and then co-led
Shout out to
several
Reengage.
times in our marriage ministry. Um, we went through and re-engaged and co-led it. And one of the big things in that, y'all haven't gone through it,
You
is
should.
one of the first things they tell you is draw a circle around yourself and focus on everything in that within that circle. So that's basically, telling you are in control of you and your emotions and how you react to certain things. And
I am my
yes,
biggest marital problem.
yes, I am my biggest marital problem because we tend to get in the way of self,
Yeah.
and argue with self quite often, and that is the number one killer of communication, relationships of any sort. Basically, getting in your own head and trying to paint your spouse as the enemy when she is not your enemy. She is your partner in crime. Um, Good crime, godly crime. Don't go out robbing
Committing
banks
crime.
or
This ain't
convenience
Bonnie.
stores or
We're not
this ain't
Bonnie and
no, we're not
Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde. But she is your other,
My better half.
your better half, your best friend. Um, and she's there to be with you, have your back, have your side, be your shield when she needs to be, and vice versa. Um, we are put on this earth to be one.
The biggest thing I took from our argument, tiff, fight, whatever you want to call it, um, was basically God telling me, you are supposed to build him up. You are supposed to be his support. So while Satan is attacking him, what can you do to help him to be better? Not correct him, not fix him, but how can you support him and be what he needs in those times? And that was a hard one for me
Yeah, definitely.
because submitting is not a easy thing for me.
Nor me.
I'm I'm pretty bold and loud and obnoxious, and
And I'm very blunt. I'm straight to the point.
but this whole thing made me be able to step back and trust his judgment. And when I knew where his heart was and communication was there, it was easier for me to see his point of view and be able to do what he wants. Like, value your opinion and your stance on something because I had never known why you did what you did or said what you said or wanted what you wanted. I just kind of viewed it as Yeah, he's just being a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
But I've
Um,
also always kind of been a doormat though. And I don't mean that negatively against you, but I never I never fought for the conversation. Like when you would want to brush it under the rug, I would just let it happen. And I feel like this time I stood my ground, but I stood my godly ground. I stood my ground on what had to happen. And I feel like I made sure that you knew that everything I was doing in love and was not fighting you, but this was what had to happen for this to continue,
yeah,
and basically laid the groundwork for you to do what you needed to do and leave how you needed to leave.
you weren't you weren't fighting me, you were fighting for me. You were fighting
Yes,
for us.
because I've always been very submissive, and when he would say no, which was not a God thing, that was definitely Satan saying, "Hey, don't work this out because if it's not being worked out, you can't be close." So I feel like I really stood against that and kind of stood my ground rather than just letting it all go.
Yeah, you were kind of like Wreck-It Ralph in that instance where you were basically tearing my walls down, um, brick by brick. But it was appreciated because it needed to happen.
Mhm.
It was long overdue. I definitely wish we could have done it sooner. Not necessarily the fight and the me leaving and going and staying in a hotel and all that, but just the breakdown and me being able to connect emotionally, and open up, um, and basically us become one and be comfortably one, not fighting each other and kind of tearing away from each other or anything like that. Um, I think it's definitely helped us quite a bit this last um, tiff or whatever you want to call it, because just the other day there was we were talking um, about the vendor event, and you sold out, which was amazing. For those of you who don't know, she does a bakery. She has sourdough breads, cookies, cupcakes, um, all
Everything.
kinds of stuff, all delicious. You can't tell, but I am kind of chunky. But it's definitely um, God sent because she has been blessed with the ability to bake, and everything is delicious. Um, Over the last year, she's kind of been in and out of um, selling and everything, and I've always tried to push her positively, but it hasn't always been positive. Um,
He means
because
it with
I'm
love,
like I
but
say, like I say, I'm very blunt and I'm to the point, and I'm gonna say what's on my mind because I don't necessarily have a filter that tells me, hey, you shouldn't say that. Um,
that
Point
comes off
proven.
very
The text that I sent that I thought was innocent, and then I went back and looked at it and was like, that's not
innocent.
innocent.
Yeah,
Um, so I definitely she
responded negatively.
she told me she sold out,
And
but
how I sold
how
out.
she sold out, um,
I had
and
a
it was
vendor.
it was it was a little less money than what she anticipated selling everything for, and not to say that I reacted negatively, but I reacted negatively, and basically questioned her why she did what she did, not realizing the big picture of the situation because she had a vendor come and buy like
Everything at a
everything she
discounted
had,
rate.
everything that she had at a discounted rate, or
Wholesale.
everything that was left, because she had already sold um,
A lot,
a
but
lot, but
I
she
still
still had quite
had
a bit left. And
Like 5 loaves of bread.
this individual came and basically bought everything for wholesale. And then basically told her that she would like to do a partnership of, um, you know,
Putting my stuff in her store.
once or twice a week to where she bought stuff from wholesale and then, you know, sold it in her store to basically get her name out there. And that's huge. I mean,
Because the cottage law just now allowed that.
so it was a, I didn't see the big picture. I basically just saw a snippet of
Why did you sell
why did you
everything for half
sell,
off?
why did you sell everything for half off? Like that's your
Insane.
livelihood. That's, you got to make sure you're making your money. You can't be doing this because you're not going to be making any money. But, after I sent the text or after we talked, because we were talking on the phone, after we talked, it was
I sent a text to you
okay.
saying that was rude.
Yeah, it was basically we got off the phone heated. Um,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a
but then,
whatever. Love you, bye.
5 minutes later, she sent me a text reaching out and basically telling me how she felt about the conversation, which gave me time to think about it, read the text message, and basically
And I was a little nervous about your response.
understand um, what she was saying. And basically, I started kicking myself in the butt because I was like, "You're an idiot! Like, why are you putting her down for her gaining um, business?" I mean, yes, she did sell um, her product for cost or whatever, but
It was over cost, but it just wasn't the profit that it could have been. Like I made my money back. Like I'm not out money, but I just didn't profit the way that
yeah, and um,
I lost out on my time,
yeah, it was basically a small profit, but didn't pay for the time and effort that she put into it,
which was a lot.
which was a lot. It was quite a bit, but
Two 20-hour days.
and I basically, sat back and looked at it and thought about it. Well, if she were to able to sell to this person wholesale multiple times a week, and that got her name out even further, that's way more of a blessing than any amount of profit that she could have gained in one day. Um,
Because it would have been steady. It was
it
regular.
yeah, it's going to be. So I immediately responded to her text, basically apologizing.
Which I didn't look
Um,
at for several minutes because I was worried that he was going to say some snarky crap and I was going to get mad. So I kind of
no, I
hid my phone
definitely,
for a minute.
I definitely humbled myself, big time,
Much appreciated.
and basically, explain. I know it came off negative, but I didn't mean it negatively. I'm super proud of what you've done. Um, I didn't mean to react the way I did. I apologize. But I'm super proud of you because you've basically gained um, a permanent spot somewhere with your bread and your bakery and everything. So um, definitely was much appreciative because um, you know the world is expensive.
And
Um,
so were our
and so are our
chaoses,
kids. Yes,
all the
kids
little mini
are.
chaoses.
We'll go into detail on those guys later, but um, yeah, it was a humbling moment for me, and our little spat from a couple weeks ago really kind of opened my eyes to um how I react to things, how I communicate with you about certain things, and like I said, at first this was a negative reaction, but once I took a step back and reanalyzed the situation, it one of those deals of, hey, here's another spiritual spanking guy. Um, and we're not perfect. I'm not perfect,
No,
and I'm gonna stumble from time to time.
but we're better than we were yesterday.
Yes, yes, I'm gonna stumble from time to time, but I'm gonna keep walking. one step at a time.
Sometimes it's 2 step forward, 3 steps back, but we keep trying to go forward even when we stumble.
Definitely. And that's pretty much all you can really hope for and pray for. Throughout your marriage, it may be rough. You might be going through fire today, but tomorrow maybe you'll get out of that fire. As long as you're together.
And put
Um,
God in the center of it, because if you don't let him handle your spouse, and you try to handle him, it doesn't work.
yeah, that's the number one thing. Do not try and handle your spouse. Your spouse is not yours to handle. Um,
You are there to love them and pray for them, and anything further than that, you're just gonna make a mess.
Most definitely. We can definitely talk of several occasions where we've made a mess of things,
Hmm, yeah,
big time.
but I can say that everything's been worth it.
Yes, most definitely.
I would choose you again even on the worst day, and that day, we've had it.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But we have made it through all of our worst times,
most definitely. We've made it through quite a bit, quite a
and
bit.
divorce isn't an option.
No, and that's why I say the D word because I don't even like saying the word. But unfortunately, that is a real problem in today's society.
And blended
Um,
families are
blended.
even more at risk for it.
Yes.
Um, but that's something we'll get into on another episode.
Yeah. Future episodes. I think we are.
We're pushing time.
Yeah,
Like we've kept them a little bit,
a little bit longer than
but
anticipated. Actually, surprising.
communication's a huge thing.
A real big thing.
Um, there is a book that I used through this, and um, it's Change Him, Pray for Him. And they have a woman's version too, and I actually found out that they have another one that is just for people in general, even if they're not married.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, so that is my thing for the day. Um, I'll tag it in the comments so people can get it, but just remember, instead of trying to change your spouse, pray for your spouse.
Most definitely.
This has
And
a
don't be praying that their bricks get cut
yes.
and anything like that.
Don't pray bad things.
Whatever that song is, you know the song I'm talking about. Maybe.
But whenever I'm mad at him, I just pray for patience for him.
That is not that is not funny. That is not funny. Are you the reason that I'm having all the problems at work right now?
No, God's
Are
not
you
that
are
cruel.
you
That's
sure?
not the way it works.
Because that's that's testing my patience. But
Nope, that's called employees.
that is true. That is
Well,
true.
you want to
But
pray it out? Let him go?
yeah, let's pray it out real quick. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for this time that you've given us. We thank you for the voice that you've given us and the platform to um, attempt to reach others. Um, we pray that you use this and us to help guide blended families, marriage, married couples, and just everybody, because we're going to talk about everything. So just anybody that this can reach, that this can touch. We pray that it helps them, um, even if they're just needing somebody to talk to or listen to or anything like that. Um, we pray for all the families out there, blended, regular kids, everybody. We pray for them. Pray for the schools um, here where we live and the surrounding areas and everybody else. Um,
Pray for
and
law enforcement.
pray for law enforcement, yes, because there's troubling times right now, especially political and religious strife throughout the world. But I think we are, starting to come together. Um, you know, definitely shows one side versus the other, how each reacts. But we pray that you continue to open everybody's eyes to the truth, and guide them back to you, Lord. And we thank you for everybody that is, um, willing to stand up and be courageous and be, um, men and women of God. Um, and it's in your son's name we pray. Amen. Well, that is it for this episode. We will catch y'all on the next one. Don't know what topic we'll talk about next time. We'll
Put some suggestions in the comments.
put some suggestions in the comments. We'll think about it, and maybe choose one that speaks to us, or maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just choose our own.
Maybe God will just tell us what to do.
Maybe
We just have to listen.
we don't know. Basically, yeah.
All right.
We'll see y'all later.
All right.